What's up guys, Forgotten Fox here, and today I will be starting a new Let's Play and tutorial series called Survival on Hard in Minecraft 1.14.4. This newest update added more functionality to villages, village generation, and raids, as well as new mobs called pillagers. So I will be diving into this and all the new content in this series where I teach you the basics of surviving in survival on the hardest difficulty. One of the great things about Minecraft is that there is no correct way to play or win the game, nor is there any point to even winning. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, and however you want to. I will be going over some of the things that I do to make life a little bit easier, especially when playing the hardest difficulty, as well as some of my favorite practices in both building, exploration, redstone contraptions, farming, and more. In this video, I will be showing you how to handle spawning in your first world, crafting your first tools, creating your first house, and a few more tips that'll help you survive your first night. Now, seeing that Minecraft is 10 years old in 2019 and is the most popular video game to date, I will be trying something new with this series by playing with the Zeus Unbelievable Shader Pack and the Modern Ark Texture Pack, which can be found in the video description. To start, let's go over creating your first world. Go ahead and hit the Create New World button. First thing you're going to want to do is give your new world a name. This world will be called Survival on Hard, the name of this series. The next thing will be selecting your game mode. There is Survival, Hardcore, and Creative. But the problem with Hardcore is you only have one life. After you die, all you can do is spectate your world. And with Creative, you are given access to everything. And while it's fun to build in Creative, I personally prefer earning everything in Survival. Under More World Options, you can see the seed for this world, which I will also leave in the video description for those of you who want to play along with this series. I will be leaving Generate Structures on. I will also be leaving the world type to default, and I will not be allowing cheats or the bonus chest, as I would like this to be a truly representative survival world with no choice or chance of cheats. Once you hit Create New World, the game will generate your world, and depending on your hardware, it can be fast or slow. Now, once your world generates, the first thing you're going to want to do is hit Escape, go to Options, you're going to set the difficulty to Hard, and we are going to lock the world difficulty. Now, the key takeaway with this is you will never be able to change it again. So if you want to just play on normal and change it to peaceful if you get close to dying, be my guest, but this is Survival on Hard. The last thing that you might turn on is subtitles, which can be helpful by adding a small subtitle menu in the bottom right hand corner that tells you what is happening around your player. Without jumping ahead too much, using your WASD keys and the spacebar to jump, you can move your player around your world, and by holding down the left click, you can break blocks. So we will begin this series by breaking the wood on this tree, and using our mouse to look around, we will make sure that we harvest all of the wood blocks on the tree. By pressing E, you can open your inventory, and by clicking and dragging the wood that you collected to the crafting interface, and then holding down Shift, you can easily turn the wood into planks. And by dragging the stack and holding right click to only place one in each of the squares, we can make our first crafting bench. You can plop it down by pressing right click, and right clicking on the table will bring up the 3x3 crafting interface. The first thing we'll do is make a couple of sticks, which we can use to make our first wooden tools. You can find the recipes for these tools in the green crafting book beside the crafting interface or on the Wikia or forums. I'll be starting with just a simple wood sword, wood pickaxe, and wood axe, and we'll go ahead and use that wood axe to harvest our crafting bench. Depending on your biome, you will need to seek out trees, or if you have any nearby, you can put that wood axe to good use by harvesting the log blocks from the tree, which we will use for constructing our house later on. You can see that by using the wooden tools, each of them has a durability, and every use decreases the durability by 1. Depending on where you spawn, you might find certain berry bushes nearby. These bushes are exclusive to taiga biomes, and by right-clicking on them, you can harvest the berries. But be careful, touching any of the bushes will harm your player, as the bushes have thorns in them. So you'll want to avoid touching the bushes while getting close enough to harvest the berries. If you do not have any of these bushes nearby, you will need to search elsewhere for a source of food. Namely, any passive mobs such as sheep, cows, or pigs can be killed by using your wood tools. Each of your tools, if you check your inventory, has a certain attack damage associated with it, as well as an attack speed. The sword indicator in your crosshair has a sword icon with a plus next to it when you can make a critical strike. By waiting to click until you have a critical strike ready, you can more easily damage your enemy. And the attack speed of each of your tools will depend on what type of tool it is. Now, when we went and chased the sheep into this lake, we found these black blocks at the bottom. This is coal, and by mining coal, we can use it for torches later on. Now you'll notice when you go underwater, you will lose air bubbles the longer you're underwater, and the longer you stay on the surface, the faster they will replenish. You want to be careful that you do not run out of air while underwater, otherwise it will start taking your health at a rate of, I believe it's 1 heart per second. Now there is more coal down there, however, I'm going to start moving around here so that we can get a better idea of where we spawned in this taiga biome. Here's a few more pigs. I'll go ahead and demonstrate here once again how you can time your hits to deal more damage than just swinging blindly. If you'll notice, the shadows that are forming on all of the trees and my player, these shadows are all created in real time through Zeus's unbelievable shaders, and in an effect similar to the ray tracing that will be coming to Minecraft sometime in 2020, every object creates a real-time shadow that changes as the light changes. So all of the shadows will constantly be updated to the sun, as well as any light sources you place down artificially. Speaking of light sources, I noticed this lava lake that spawned near the surface here that was lighting some grass on fire. This could be a helpful source of obsidian later on, so we'll be sure to take a mental note of where it is. There are a few more berry bushes nearby, and as we continue to explore our spawn area, we find a couple more pigs, more berry bushes, trees, and water, all of which will be useful in constructing our first house and possibly settlement later on. Moving towards this small river that I found, the first thing that I see pop up are these sugarcane pieces. Those will be helpful for harvesting for later, when we can use sugarcane to make sugar and paper, which could provide a good source of food or books. Now, you'll notice how I looked up to the sun there. I'm trying to gauge how much time of day I have left, and seeing how the sun is starting to get low in the sky means we need to hurry and construct ourselves our first shelter. Now, one thing we will need in this shelter is coal for torches, and I noticed a little bit more here spawning just above the river, so I'll go ahead and mine that with my pickaxe. It's important that you mine the coal with your pickaxe, as mining it with the improper tool will cause it to drop nothing, which is true of some other precious ores that you will find throughout the world. I'm going to begin harvesting a few more trees now to make sure that we have enough materials to construct our first shelter so that we can survive the night. It is important to have a shelter at night because when the light level drops below 7, monsters will begin to spawn, and especially on the hard difficulty where all the damage the player receives from hostile monsters or otherwise is increased. It is important that we protect ourselves from those monsters until we can adequately take them on. You will notice that your character only has so much range when it comes to breaking blocks, so you might have to stack up some other blocks in order to reach the tops of some of these trees so that you can harvest all of the wood. To do this, simply jump and then place a block underneath you so that you land on top of it. This can be useful for grabbing stuff out of the tallest trees. If you place a block like a crafting bench underneath yourself and want to build on top of it, you must crouch in order to place another block on it, as normally right-clicking would only open the crafting interface, which is not what you want when you want to use the crafting bench as a block to boost you up. At this point, I noticed that the light is getting dangerously low and we've yet to start constructing our shelter. So I'm going to go ahead and backtrack to the area that I really liked over here in this plains biome that kind of separates the forest from the swamp. If you are lucky enough to find 3 sheep, you can kill them and harvest their wool in order to make yourself a bed. Beds will allow you to reset your spawn point to the last location you slept at, and they can also allow you to skip the night, which will be helpful in case you are unable to craft a full shelter or you are unwilling to run outside during the night. I noticed there's a small oak tree here, so I'm going to go ahead and break some of these leaves and harvest the tree itself. And you can use your axe for this as well, as it'll speed up the breaking of all of the wood blocks. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take my wood that I got from the spruce trees and convert it to planks. And using these planks, I'm going to find a generally open area. This looks about right. And I will start creating the basic frame for our first house. Now, a lot of people, when they make their frame, just build a big box, but you can feel free to experiment with your house design. Boxes are great, but a little creativity here and there never hurt, and it allows you to be flexible with the shape and create something that would look unique, more built into the land rather than just a giant square of wood. It is important that you gather enough wood to build a wall at least 2 blocks high around your shelter, as any lower the mobs would be able to jump over, which is obviously a bad thing. I had enough wood left over here to build my shelter 3 blocks high, which would give you some more headroom once inside, considering your character is 2 blocks high, but this is not required. Now that we have the walls up, we'll want to place our crafting bench down and make a door. A door can be created with any wood planks in an arrangement of 2 by 3, and by right-clicking on it, we can open and close our door. Now that we're done with that, we want to go ahead and make some torches. Now, you can see just by holding the torch in your hand, the path tracing shader pack lights up the surroundings, even if we're not placing them. But by placing them down, we can have it permanently light up our small little house here. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and break all of the grass that's in our house, as we'll probably be making the floor wood later on, but for now we'll just get rid of all the grass. The next thing we should worry about is our hunger bar. Notice how we've gone down to only 3. You can eat some of the berries that we found earlier to replenish your hunger bar. For those of you who did not spawn in a taiga biome with these berries, I'll be detailing how you can acquire some food later on. I'll just go ahead and replace this dirt with some wood so that it looks a bit better there. And now we can get on to making a roof for our little house. By taking some of the spruce planks we had earlier and arranging them in a row of 3, we can turn them into spruce slabs. So we're going to make a few slabs here for our roof. And the cool part about slabs is that they only take up half of a block, which means that by placing them on the top half of our house, we can have a slightly higher roof than just placing solid blocks along the whole thing. And here's a little tip too. If you place the torch in your shield slot, it holds it in your offhand, which can help light up your house without having to even place a single torch down. This is a useful tactic that we will use later when mining, as it provides a light source that will follow you around, which means we won't have to make thousands of torches to place all over the place as long as we have one torch on us. Just go ahead and make a few more slabs here. The roof is a bit larger than I originally thought, and we'll go ahead and finish it up here. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place some of our torches back around our house here. And as you can see there, you can't place them on half of a block, so we'll place them on the last full block there, just making sure it's light enough so that no monsters will spawn in here. And because it's nighttime and we can't really go outside, we're going to go ahead and make a small mine in our house so that we can mine at night while we can't go outside. So we're going to go ahead and make some more torches so that I can hold them. And we're going to go ahead and find a good spot for our mine to go, which should be right here. Now, you can make a shovel to break dirt and grass faster. However, because I don't find myself breaking too much of it, I'm fine just using my hand or whatever I have in my hand. And then once you get down far enough to where you need to use your pickaxe, this can be the start of our mine. And we will go ahead and mine through. There's some stone, and we will continue mining here in a staircase fashion, and we'll just keep going here until we find something useful. And here you can see that resource that I've just found here. This is iron. Iron is the next tier up from stone tools and has considerably more durability. So we'll go ahead and mark that and head back up because our wood tools are incapable of mining iron. So for that, we will need to make a stone pickaxe. So we can go ahead and first we can use the stone to make a furnace. Now, for the people who haven't been able to gather food yet, we can use some of our coal and we can put some food in the furnace here and we can cook up our food to make cooked pork chops and cooked mutton, both of which can replenish your hunger if you did not find any sweet berries in your world. Now, that sound you're hearing is an Enderman, who is likely outside of our base. And if we just briefly look outside, it is still nighttime, which means if we walk out there, we would have to fight a bunch of enemy mobs. So we'll go ahead and just wait here for our food to be done in the furnace, which it is, and we can go ahead and cook the raw mutton in there. Now, while this is cooking, we can eat it here and replenish some of our hunger. Take the torch back. We can go ahead and use some of that oak wood that we got, make a few more sticks, and use those sticks to make our first stone tools. With these stone tools, if we head back down to the iron ore we found, we should be able to mine it up. Now you'll notice you never want to mine the block directly underneath you, as you could fall into a cave, lava pit, or whatever else generates underground, so it's a good practice to never mine the block you're directly standing on. Now, to get back up, we'll need to go ahead and place some cobblestone down as we kind of mine the blocks that we were using as a stairway. And if you don't want to bang your head going the whole way back up, you can mine the blocks on the back here. That'll allow you to not bang your head on anything, but I don't really mind if it's just a mine shaft here. Can go ahead, see that our food is almost done cooking. Can go ahead and put an extra piece of coal on to finish the last piece. One piece of coal will cook exactly 8 items. So if you use that math to your advantage, then you can calculate how much fuel you'll need to cook all of your food or ores or whatever else you're smelting. And you'll see there, if we put our iron ore in the furnace and smelt them, we can get iron ingots, which are the next tier of items that we can use for improving both our tools and an item that can be used to make armor. We can go ahead here with our wool and extra planks and make a bed. Now, if you didn't have the wool yet, don't worry, as the bed will allow you to skip the night once you eventually find it. But if we walk outside, you can clearly see the sun rising in the east over there, and that Enderman that we should probably avoid looking at to avoid angering. And just like that, we appear to have survived our first night. As you can see, the nighttime mobs like this zombie are starting to burn in the sun. We can go ahead and finish him off here, and if you look at that, he dropped a potato. Now, zombies can occasionally drop potatoes and carrots, which is one of their rare drops, so we get kind of lucky there. We'll go ahead and use some of our oak planks to make a valuables chest here. Plop that down, and in here we can put that potato we found, the sugar cane, our food, iron. Not bad for first night. And just like that, we did it. I will see you all in the next episode. But for now, this is Forgotten Fox signing off.